The Antikythera puzzle. In 1901, sponge divers near the Greek island of Antikythera uncovered the remains of an ancient shipwreck. Scattered among statues and amphorae lay an unassuming lump of corroded bronze and wood. For years it went unnoticed, until careful study revealed something astonishing: dozens of finely cut gears hidden within its decayed shell. What they had found would later be known as the Antikythera mechanism, dated to around 50, frequently described as the world's first analog computer. It could forecast eclipses, track planetary movements, and even account for the moon's irregular orbit. Historians once believed gear systems of such complexity didn't exist until medieval Europe. Yet here was proof that the ancient Greeks possessed not only philosophical brilliance, but also technological mastery. The device's gears were cut with a precision rivaling modern watchmaking, and its calibration suggested generations of accumulated knowledge. The real mystery, however, is its uniqueness. No workshop, no production line, no manuals have ever been found. Some scholars think the knowledge may have died with a single inventor, perhaps linked to Archimedes or Hipparchus. Others speculate that it was one of many such devices, possibly common among Greek elites, lost to time and the sea. A more eccentric theory suggests it was less a scientific tool and more a theatrical device, built to impress wealthy patrons with a demonstration of cosmic order. Even with CT scans and 3D models, scholars still cannot fully explain its purpose or origin. Was it the pinnacle of a forgotten tradition of mechanical engineering, or the isolated triumph of a lone genius? Whatever the answer, the mechanism reminds us that history does not always move forward in a straight line. Sometimes the past hides technologies we can scarcely imagine. The enduring glow of Egyptian blue. Long before the discovery of chemistry as a science, a color emerged that seemed almost eternal, known today as Egyptian blue. It first appeared around 2600 BCE, used to decorate statues, temples, and ceramic. At first glance, it was simply a striking azure pigment. But beneath its beauty lies a scientific mystery that continues to fascinate researchers. Egyptian blue is more than a dye. It glows under infrared light, emitting a distinct luminescence that modern science only began to analyze seriously in the 21st century. Its composition, calcium copper silicate, required sustained heating between 800 and 1000 degrees. This was no accident. It was engineered deliberately, implying a deep knowledge of mineral selection, heat control, and chemical stability. Its consistency across centuries is remarkable. Without modern tools, how did ancient artisans maintain such purity? Even more puzzling, the pigment has been found far beyond Egypt, appearing in Mesopotamia, Greece, and even distant Gaul. Some suggest it was purely decorative, while others theorize that its infrared properties hint at practical applications, perhaps in temperature regulation or light absorption. By the decline of the Roman Empire, the secret was lost. Later pigments lacked its brilliance and durability, and even modern laboratories struggle to reproduce it at the same purity. Was it the guarded secret of guilds, or a serendipitous discovery that vanished with time? Whatever the case, Egyptian blue still dazzles today, proof that the ancients created something so advanced. It continues to outshine many of our own inventions. Baghdad's mysterious jars. In the storerooms of Iraq's National Museum rests a small, ordinary-looking clay jar. Inside, however, sits a copper cylinder encasing an iron rod, all sealed with asphalt. First studied in the 1930s, the object defied easy classification. Was it a container, a ritual piece, or something far more advanced? Now known as the Baghdad Battery, this artifact, dated between 2000 BCE and 2000 CE, has fueled decades of debate. When replicas were built and filled with acidic liquids like vinegar, they produced small but measurable electrical currents, enough to cause a mild shock or power a faint light. The discovery led to the provocative question: did the ancients experiment with electricity? Skeptics argue that while the jars could generate power, there's no evidence they were used that way. No wires, no conductors, no written accounts survive, yet the components fit together too neatly to be dismissed as coincidence. Some suggest they were used for electroplating jewelry. Others imagine religious ceremonies where a jolt of electricity could inspire awe. A few even connect them to early medical experiments, noting that ancient cultures sometimes used electric fish to treat ailments. The enigma deepens with the scarcity of evidence. Only a handful of such jars have been found, and no ancient texts mention their purpose. If they were common, why are there so few? Were they isolated experiments or part of a forgotten tradition? Whatever their role, the Baghdad batteries stand as relics from a world that may have known more about natural forces than we usually give credit for. Puma Punku stonework beyond time. High in the Bolivian Andes, over 12,000 feet above sea level, lies Puma Punku, a site that continues to astonish archaeologists and engineers alike. Part of the Tiwanaku complex, it is not famed for towering pyramids or elaborate carvings, but for its extraordinary precision in stone. Massive andesite and sandstone blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, were cut with sharp edges, uniform holes, and complex interlocking shapes. The iconic H-blocks, nearly identical in form, look almost mass-produced, yet they were carved more than 1,400 years ago, between 500–600 CE, by a society that left no written language or records of tools. How did the Tiwanaku people transport these immense blocks from quarries, nearly 60 miles away? How were they cut so cleanly without iron tools, wheels or draft animals? The joins are so tight that a razor blade cannot fit between them. Theories range from painstaking work with copper tools and abrasives, to controversial suggestions that the stones were chemically softened. Some fringe thinkers propose far more speculative ideas, even suggesting Puma Punku was designed as a landing platform for otherworldly visitors. While such claims lack evidence, they persist because conventional explanations remain unsatisfying. Whether the product of extraordinary patience and ingenuity or of methods we've yet to rediscover, Puma Punku challenges our assumptions about the limits of ancient engineering. The Indus Valley's hidden water mastery. Long before Rome built its aqueducts or Greece developed its city-states, the Indus Valley civilization flourished along the river plains of South Asia. From around 200 and 600, 1900 BCE, cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were laid out with astonishing foresight. Broad streets, standardized bricks, and most remarkably advanced water systems. Beneath the cities ran a network of brick-lined drains, covered sewers and sediment traps. Many houses had private baths and toilets connected to central drainage. This was not luxury, it was standard. Every home, rich or poor, benefited from clean water access and sanitation. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, waterproofed with bitumen, still survives nearly 4,000. What makes this so puzzling is the absence of precedent. No earlier models, no inscriptions on hydraulic theory, no treatises describing their methods survive. The engineering simply appears fully real. Modern archaeologists see this as proof of organized civic administration, perhaps one of the earliest municipal governments in history. Yet we still don't know how decisions were made, who enforced the standards, or why such knowledge later disappeared. Unlike Mesopotamia or Egypt, the Indus Valley left behind no palaces, no grand temples, no royal burials, just cities that worked efficiently and quietly. Some suggest this hints at a peaceful technocratic society, one built more on cooperation and water management than military conquest. Then, almost without warning, the civilization collapsed. Why it disappeared remains one of the greatest unanswered questions of the ancient world. By 1900 BC, the great cities of the Indus began to fade. Their once flawless waterworks slipped into neglect. Climate shifts, tectonic disturbances, or rivers altering course may have played a part. Yet the quiet collapse of such advanced urban infrastructure remains one of archaeology's most lingering enigmas. Researchers still argue whether those water systems emerged through generations of gradual experimentation, or from a centralized tradition of engineers whose expertise has vanished without record. Either way, what lingers beneath the earth feels like a faint echo of a society that solved challenges we continue to face today. Practical, unseen, and all flowing with water as its guide. Roman concrete's forgotten formula. Along Mediterranean coasts, Roman harbors still stand against the surf, their piers and seawalls remarkably intact after more than 2 millennia. By contrast, modern concrete often fractures within decades, crumbling under salt, tides and time. So how did Roman builders craft a material that not only survived but seemed to thrive? Their secret lay in opus caementitium, a mixture of lime, volcanic ash, and seawater. Unlike our cement, which weakens with age, Roman concrete actually strengthened as centuries passed, particularly in marine environments. Structures such as those at Pozzuoli and Naples reveal cracks that healed themselves, sealed by crystalline growths formed over time. Roman engineers may not have grasped the underlying chemistry, but they clearly understood the outcome, a concrete that became more resilient, not less. Vitruvius, the Roman architect, even described the deliberate use of volcanic ash sourced near Naples, where minerals triggered the growth of rare crystals like tobermorite, giving their concrete a unique ability to resist decay. After the empire's collapse, this knowledge faded, replaced by weaker mortars and eventually Portland cement. What we gained in speed and scale, we lost in longevity. Legends swirl around the recipe. Some claim Roman guilds guarded hidden additives, everything from milk to animal blood. While evidence for such extras is thin, the withers reflect how astonishing their achievements seem today. What is known for certain is that they tailored blends to function differently, one for underwater docks, another for massive domes, another for aqueduct. Far from a single formula, it was a versatile technology, adapted project by project. Was it careful experimentation or luck stumbled upon at the right volcanic quarry? Scholars still debate, but their harbors, aqueducts, and temples remain a lasting reminder that the Romans were not only builders, they were craftsmen of endurance. The Viking sunstone. Long before magnetic compasses reached Europe, Norse sailors braved fog, storms, and endless grey seas to cross the Atlantic. How? For centuries the answer lay buried in sagas and speculation, until whispers of a crystal tool resurfaced. Called the sunstone, it was said to reveal the sun's hidden position, even through clouds or beyond the horizon. At first dismissed as poetic exaggeration, modern science has given the idea new weight. A transparent mineral called Iceland spar, with its natural ability to polarize light, fits the description perfectly. When rotated correctly, the crystal filters light into patterns pointing toward the sun. Tests show that even in overcast skies or at twilight, navigators could use it with remarkable accuracy. The catch: no verified sunstone has been unearthed from a Viking site. The only physical evidence is a single Iceland spar crystal found on a 16th century shipwreck, centuries after the Viking Age. Was it a continuation of an old tradition, or coincidence? The absence of artifacts leaves the story suspended between history and legend. Mainstream historians acknowledge that the method could have worked, and it would explain how Norse voyagers steered so precisely across the North Atlantic. Yet the mystery persists. Why would a tool so practical leave no trace in graves, no written instructions, no lasting cultural imprint? Fringe thinkers imagine secret navigators sworn to silence, or that the stones doubled as sacred talismans, tools of both science and ritual. Some myths even claim the stone didn't just locate the sun, but communed with it. Whether literal tool, poetic metaphor, or something in between, the idea endures because it captures a truth. People have always found ways to orient themselves when the sky gave nothing away. Soundscapes of Chavin de Huantar. High in the Peruvian Andes lies a temple complex unlike any other. Built more than 3,000 years ago, Chavin de Huantar was not just a place of worship, but a laboratory of sensation. Its greatest secret wasn't carved in stone but carried on waves of sound. The site is a maze of tight corridors, chambers, and shafts, engineered with uncanny acoustic. Priests blew conch shell trumpets, whose deep resonant blasts bounced through the halls, creating eerie roars, whispers, and vibrations that disoriented visitors. Modern acoustic studies confirm the design was deliberate. Certain frequencies carry better than others, and the builders tuned the stone spaces to amplify those effects. Imagine standing in darkness, hearing voices that seemed to move around you, or thunder rumbling from beneath your feet. Underground canals acted like organ pipes, roaring during rainstorms, turning ceremonies into full-body experiences of awe and fear. Ritual here was immersive, not only seen but heard, felt, and endured. Some fringe interpretations leap further, suggesting the site was a primitive sound weapon, or mind control chamber, capable of inducing trance or terror. While such ideas stretch beyond the evidence, they highlight a striking truth. This was one of the earliest known examples of humans engineering environments, not just for shelter, but for psychological impact. Did the builders reach this mastery through generations of trial, Or did they preserve an esoteric tradition of sound manipulation now lost? Scholars continue to argue, but what remains certain is that thousands of years before microphones, speakers, or amplifiers, a mountain temple had already transformed sound into power. Conclusion: across oceans and centuries, scattered in ruins, shipwrecks, pigments, and stones, humanity's past leaves behind a strange chorus. It reminds us that progress isn't a straight march forward. From Roman harbors to Viking seas, from Indus drains to Andean temples, people once crafted marvels we still struggle to replicate. Were these isolated sparks of brilliance, or remnants of broader traditions erased by time? Perhaps the unsettling truth is that innovation can be lost as easily as it is found. What feels miraculous to us may have been ordinary to them, and what we rediscover in fragments is not just their genius, but a reflection of our own forgotten possibility.